Welcome to That 80s Show. I hope I get through the show for two reasons. Firstly, you may hear my nose is a little bunged up. Secondly, Dory just blew the shit out of my ears. Bless you, Dory.
Clearly, my nose is not great today either. We are not doing well today.
Wow. Let me tell you, it is an unwritten hazard of podcasting. Your co-host sneezing into the microphone. And you not muting. Good grief. Oh, how are you? How are you now, Dory?
Oh, now I feel much better.
Oh, that is some top-class stuff. Opening up the show with Bon Jovi, You Give Love a Bad Name. And you hit me before that sneeze with a fantastic misheard lyric that goes along with that song.
Mm-hmm. I know. I mean, there's probably lots of options of misheard lyrics for that song, but my favorite is You Give Love a Band-Aid.
Oh my God, it's so obvious. You know, some of these misheard lyrics, as you've been doing them, you go like, oh, that is nonsense. There's no way you heard that. But when you listen to that song, I don't think I can ever not hear it now without going, give love a Band-Aid. Because it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. The best part is that You Give Love a Band-Aid is actually much more deep and meaningful. Actually.
It is, because Bon Jovi are like, and they never got deep. They were like radio-friendly pop rock. But you give love a bad name. Okay, cool. You give love a Band-Aid. Oh my God. You've not only you've hurt love. You've hurt it. You've given it a boo-boo. Like, what person are you? Probably wearing like a super teased hair and really red lipstick, going around handing out plasters to love
and saying, let's kiss it better.
It is so much better. I think we're writing to Bon Jovi and saying, listen, you may have heard it, but I really think it's time to consider actually changing the lyrics. Let's retcon it, we're allowed. Revisiting it. That brought up a story. This is a fantastic thing about Google. You prep the show, you put stuff in Google Docs, and suddenly you see Bon Jovi stories in your timeline, in your feeds. And I found a story about a guy who says, let me tell you about the time Bon Jovi almost cost me an iPhone. Now, in your brain, Dory, what do you think? What do you think could have happened that Bon Jovi would have cost you your iPhone?
You go to a Bon Jovi concert and someone steals your phone or you lose your phone.
Right, which I think happened to a friend of mine. I think they were standing outside a Bon Jovi concert calling somebody, and somebody ran past and stole their phone. I think that is a story I really heard happen. Someone I know. Okay, so this guy, he's a journo. I'm going to give you his name, Philip Byrne, right? He's writes for Tech Radar. Okay, so he's a tech journo. And way back in the 2000s, when I think the iPhone 3G came out, right? So iPhones were huge. iPhones are always a big story, but this is like when an iPhone came out like every 3 years, not like every 8 months, right? So it was a really, really big deal. So this guy now, he goes, listen, and iPhone was like, I don't care if you're a tech journo, you got to, like everybody else, you got to go wait in line for your iPhone. So he lives in New York at the time. He reckons there's no way I'm getting an iPhone in New York. I'm going to go to New Jersey, right? So New Jersey, if you don't know, that's where Bon Jovi are from. So he goes to the mall there, there's an iPhone store, and he walks in. The mall hasn't opened yet, kind of cleaning staff, security, and he sees a short queue of people, and he goes, oh, this is brilliant. It doesn't even look like there's 30 people in this queue. I'm definitely getting the iPhone, and I don't have to sit here all day. This is fantastic. So he's waiting for a bit, and he's like, people are coming, walking past, giving him a ticket, right? A number. So he goes, okay, pretty normal stuff. This is what they did in the first iPhone. I think this is like the second or third iPhone. Cool, expected this. But he goes, nobody's wearing like Apple clothing. Like, that's weird. And the queue isn't outside an Apple store. But anyway, it's New Jersey, small mall, that's fine, whatever. And then he sees a radio station van arrive, right? White van, radio station logos on it. He goes, oh, wow, like nothing happens in New Jersey that the local radio station is coming to cover an iPhone release. Okay, cool stuff. So he sees the guys walk out and they go to the people in the front of the queue and interview them. And he's like, oh, no, I don't want to be interviewed because it'll like compromise my journalistic integrity. I hope they don't come to me. And then he sees people shaking hands and walk away. He goes, Well, they didn't get an iPhone. And then it happens to the second and third person. Eventually, he's like, no, wait, this is weird. Asks somebody and says, what's happening here? Why aren't they giving away iPhones? And the person in front is like, I don't know why the hell they're not giving away iPhones. We're in line for Bon Jovi tickets.
But come on, I mean, when it wasn't an Apple store, come on. What, he just saw the queue and assumed it was for the iPhone? That's hilarious. Come on.
It is such a, I mean, I thought it was just a South African thing because South Africans love to queue. We just love it and love complaining about it. We'll never try to find an alternative or whatever. We'll find a queue, even if it's the wrong queue, whatever, we'll stand in it and then complain, right?
And then hang on, am I in the wrong queue? But you've stood there for 3 hours already. And then you go, I don't even know if I'm in the right queue.
And then
this happened to me actually at the shops the other day. No, literally, this happened at the shops the other day. I was queuing at the grocery store, and there was this old woman right in front of me, and we were queuing for quite a while. And then it's her turn. She goes to the till. She says something to the cashier. The cashier points to another side of the shop, and she walks off. So I'm like, you clearly didn't need to be here, but you stood here before asking somebody where you needed to be. You queued to find out where you need to queue.
We love doing it, but it seems it's not just our affliction. So he's like, oh shit, I don't want Bon Jovi tickets. By the way, gets the Bon Jovi tickets because he's like, okay, well, I'm in line. And
might as well get them.
I may as well get them. And then they point to him, he goes, okay, where is the iStore here? So they say, no, it's just around there. He goes and walks right into the iStore, walks out with an iPhone. So the story.
So it was fine then. Yeah, okay.
It was fine. So he gets an iPhone, gets Bon Jovi tickets, right?
Yeah.
And, everyone's happy. He couldn't give away his Bon Jovi tickets. Nobody wanted them.
Why didn't he use them, though? Why didn't he go?
So he says, I offered my tickets. No, he wasn't a fan. So he said, I offered my tickets to a cousin and he couldn't go. So he couldn't go. Okay, it seems that he couldn't go. I offered my tickets to a cousin and he couldn't go either. So I kept them as a souvenir. The iPhone got traded in a year later for the next big thing, and I've still not seen Bon Jovi. So who won? Who won?
That's a cool story, though.
It is a cool story.
I missed Bon Jovi when they came out here, and I was very sad about it, I have to say.
When did they come out here? Because ahead of today, I was thinking, when were they here?
They've been here twice. They were here in the 90s, and then they were here, I would say in the last 10 years they were here as well.
Okay. And you missed them both times?
Yep.
Oh, bummer. Those are one of those bands that you go, they definitely won't come back here. Or if they're coming back, they're doing like a sit-down acoustic type of like
for the old
mellow
people,
version of.
It's, you know what? I mean, I'm sad that I missed it, but I don't have huge concert regret about it. The only one I have huge concert regret about is In Excess, for obvious reasons.
Right. Yeah. No, listen.
Didn't make it to that concert.
So they won't be coming back. So, so will we ever see Bon Jovi? Who knows? Will we get an iPhone? Probably at 40,000 Rand a phone. No, I don't think so.
I mean, the funny thing is, like, I actually prefer John Bon Jovi as an actor. I love the band. Don't get me wrong. It's cool. But I love him as an actor. He's really good.
He is good, but what's he been in? I've seen him in... He's not been in tons.
I literally can't think of... There's a movie that I remember him being in. It was like a... drama, a bit of comedy in it. It was so good, and I can't.
He was on a TV show for a while.
Think what it is.
Wasn't he on a TV show for a while? I'm sure.
Okay, I'm looking it up. I don't know. I just know that every time I've ever seen him in a movie or a TV show, I've loved him.
But he's doing all the things. He's a successful winemaker now. His son is dating 11 from Stranger Things.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's a little power couple for you.
Yeah.
His son's dating Millie Bobby Brown.
Wow. Okay, so he has acted in 119 things.
Wow.
Excluding
music videos, because are you looking IMDb? They'll
include music videos. Okay, so maybe not 119 things. Let's see what I can find. He was in Young Guns.
He was, and of course he contributed the sound to the soundtrack.
Right. He was in something called Cry Wolf. Wait, I need to see if this is actor U571. That was the submarine movie.
Yes,
I didn't see
submarine.
That.
Yes.
I didn't see that.
Okay.
He wrote The Deadliest Catch, whatever that is.
I've heard of that.
Okay, it says he was in Cobra Kai. I have not been watching Cobra Kai, so I have not seen that.
No, if he was
Are you still watching Cobra Kai? It says performer. It says performer. That's who he was in Cobra Kai. The completest in you. You're sticking with it? Wow.
I'm very intrigued. How could I have missed Bon Jovi? Because they would have definitely made a big deal out of it. Oh, how I missed John Bon Jovi and Cobra Kai. I've watched all of them.
Oh, no,
all of them, Dory.
No, wait. Although it does say performer, but I'm under soundtrack. I didn't realize I'm under soundtrack, not actor. But it does say performer.
Right.
So obviously it must just be the soundtrack. Okay, forgive me.
Maybe there's a music video.
Oh my God, let me just get to actor. The soundtrack takes
there is no way
1,000 lines.
There is no way we're getting through 5 seasons of Cobra Kai and not talking about John Bon Jovi being in it. It'll be the only,
absolutely.
At this point, the only redeeming factor.
I stopped watching it though. I'm like a season behind at least. So
No, you've done well. You've done well of skipping that out. While you look for John Bon Jovi, I want to talk about screenrant.com asking the question, is Top Gun 2's box office success the end of 80s nostalgia? Right? Is another thing we can blame Tom Cruise for. So, of course, Top Gun Maverick comes out, breaks all the box office records, kind of like at the same time Kate Bush, number 1, kind of at the same time an ABBA song from the 80s is all over TikTok. So it goes right. For a brief period in time, like the 80s are dominating our consciousness and our media, right? And of course, Stranger Things, number 1 on streaming.
Yeah.
But it goes, why 80s nostalgia is running out? After 4 seasons of Stranger Things and reboots of every conceivable 80s franchise. Of course, we speak about Cobra Kai. There are many others, but they say Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Tron, Evil Dead, 21 Jump Street, RoboCop, Ghostbusters, Chips, and Baywatch. Have we just run out of 80s things to reboot, and therefore we got nothing left? I call bullshit on it, actually.
Well, I mean, okay, the trick is, here's the thing, right? Yes. Just stop with the reboots. It's not necessary. The thing already exists in perfection. Stop rebooting it.
Because it also makes the point here that there are going to be, they're in production, new versions of Rambo and Die Hard. There is a Gremlins spin-off coming soon. There is a Lethal Weapon reimagining coming soon. Even Beverly Hills Cop is getting a 4th version with Eddie Murphy coming out on Netflix later this year. So somebody better tell Hollywood, Screen Rant, because they're not stopping. This 80s machine is just gaining traction. It has now been popular in culture longer than it was a decade. And fucking don't stop, because I need something to do on a Friday. Was what I was
but well, you need something to talk about, but that doesn't mean that what they're doing is good.
No. But anyway, that's what it says. It goes like, for every article that says, is 80s nostalgia dead? There will be an article that goes, why 80s nostalgia has got another 10 years left. Right? So we'll just rather find that one. Screen Rant, You're going straight to my delete bin. Back to Bon Jovi. What have we seen?
Right. Well, I'm going to mention 3 things that I found. So he was in an episode of Ally McBeal, which I don't remember, but I'm sure he was great. And I loved Ally McBeal. Ally McBeal was the kind of show where I absolutely hated it at first, but I stuck with it, and I was really glad that I did, because I ended up loving it. Then the movie that I was thinking of, it was actually a bit of a schlocky romance movie called Moonlight and Valentino, which he was great. It's not an amazing movie. Do you remember it?
I do remember him. Yes, I do remember him being that. It was quite a big deal because he was very much in the success of, he was still making lots of hits, and Bon Jovi was still charting, and then suddenly he's in a movie, and it was like, oh.
And that movie, the reason it got so much attention, because it wasn't amazing, was the cast, because it had Whoopi Goldberg, it had Kathleen Turner, it had Gwyneth Paltrow, it had, let me see who else was in it. Yeah, it was like one of those, like, wow, those are like an all-star cast.
But his appearance was quite gimmicky in it. It was like, oh, he is just in because he's Bon Jovi. He didn't play Bon Jovi, but he was just in because he's Bon Jovi.
But the movie I was thinking of that I loved him in, and it's a great movie, is a movie called The Leading Man.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever saw it. It's really good. If you've never seen it, it's really, really, really. From 1996, so we're hopping out of the 80s. But yeah, it's a romance. Tandy Newton's in it with him, and I just remember it being really, really amazing.
Okay, British film, also starring Dame. What is it, Dame Edna? Remember that character, Dame Edna?
Barry Humphries, yes.
Barry Humphries, yes, played Dame Edna.
Yes.
Dame Edna. Okay, so that's Bon Jovi leading.
That's probably why it was so good, because it was British. It was a British production. You remind me that. Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's Bon Jovi. Okay. That's his filmography, which takes us very nicely. But hold on. Just one thing. Just stop to hear, Lucy, before we move on to our movie recommendations. Have you been watching Dahmer?
I have. We are about 3 or 4 episodes in. Just because, load shedding, no time to watch TV.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't been, right?
Oh, okay.
Because, we know what Jeffrey Dahmer did. We know it. But I
know the story backwards, but it's a really amazing production.
Okay. So that's what people say. I kind of you know what? I don't need to understand the memes that much. Maybe I'll get to it. I'd rather watch a documentary on Dahmer.
It's really, I mean, the cast are amazing, and they've done it so well. And the thing is, it's a Ryan Murphy production, so it's brilliantly done. Come on. Okay. Look, I mean, like I say, I've watched all the Dahmer things. I've watched the interviews with him on YouTube. I followed Dahmer in his day, like when it was all happening. I was following the story. I have a thing with a friend of mine that we were very upset when he got killed. I had a huge amount of sympathy for Dahmer, because I honestly think he was a product of his environment, and he was not inherently malicious and evil. He was a product. And I think this new series is showing that quite well, actually. I think that it's quite sympathetic to him as well.
Okay. So, Dahmer fangirl. Okay, I didn't realize you're going to be a Dahmer fangirl.
Oh, yeah.
In what you've watched, have you seen his parents yet?
Yes.
Okay. So Jeffrey Dahmer's parents are, his father's Lionel and his mother's name is Shawarma Dahmer. Okay.
Shawarma Dahmer.
No, I'm making it up. It's actually Llama Dahmer. Llama Dahmer. That's it. No, okay. I'll stop it now. It's really Obama Dahmer. I got one more. She sang for the 80s group Banana Dahmer. Right. Okay. So I'm done. I'm done with my puns. Her name is Joyce Dahmer. I'm done. Right. So that's his parents. You've seen his mother. Do you know who plays his mother?
I think you're thinking of his stepmother, because the woman who plays his mother, his parents got divorced, and his mother is a blonde actress who was not familiar to me, but I know who's playing his stepmother.
Oh, right. Okay. I didn't see this hugely publicized. I would not have recognized her.
No.
If you just want to reveal, it's so different. So different.
She was not recognizable. She's not recognizable. Not recognizable.
No, maybe she should. Maybe she needs to wear pink.
Yes, so I actually first noticed in I think probably the first episode, her name was in the credits. And I was like, oh my God, Molly Ringwald is in this. Oh, wow. And then completely forgot that fact. And then we're watching an episode, and that's when the stepmother appears, and I literally did not even put one and one together. And it was my husband who went, is that Molly Ringwald? He's very good at recognizing people. It's like this weird talent he has, that he can recognize people when they are unrecognizable. Yeah. And he'll tell you, because I'll go, who was this person in? Where do I know this actor from? And he will be able to tell me. He's like my own personal IMDb. And he recognized her straight away. It was so weird. I was like, oh my God. Like, she really looks different. Really, really impressive. Because the last time I saw her was in Riverdale, which is awful, by the way. Like, the first 2 seasons are great, and then it gets terrible. And kind of as she comes in is when I stopped watching. And she still looked like Molly Ringwald, though. She looked like an older version of Molly Ringwald. She was very recognizable in Riverdale, but she's unrecognizable in Dahmer. It's really interesting.
Yeah. So that's where she pops up. You know how I know that you'd be a psychopath who sympathizes with Jeffrey Dahmer? Do you know how I know this?
Oh, I'm listening.
Because you don't skip credits or you don't skip intro on Netflix. I do skip intro.
I do skip intro on Netflix often. Not all the time. If it's an amazing intro and I enjoy the song, I don't. But otherwise, I do.
The only one I've never is Narcos. That's the only one I've never skipped because I love that opening song.
Oh no, so there's a lot that were unskippable. But anyway,
I really hope that you weren't a psychopath and had watched the opening credits and seen that Molly Ringwald isn't. But it's good. Like, most people might not know. Most people aren't psychopaths.
So now, if you are watching Dahmer, the stepmom is Molly Ringwald. In case you didn't know.
Now you know, and her name is not Obama Dahmer. So,
and actually, I was thinking Dahmer would be a great show to do on the show at some point when I finished it, because so much of it is set in the 80s. But now I feel 80s? Like, it's very 80s. Oh my goodness, it's very 80s. But now I feel like that might be a step too far now that you realize how into Dahmer I am. Like, it might be a step too far to actually recommend it as well. But we'll see, because I'm still watching it. I'll get to the end and then decide.
It feels like, from what I've heard, that somewhere in this movie they will definitely play "Goodbye Horses" by Q Lazarus. It is definitely.
Maybe. Although I think Silence of the Lambs owns that song, and when a movie owns a song, you do not put it in another movie. So no.
But homage, you could be paying homage.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. I mean, while we're talking about Dahmer, quickly, there is actually this. So this is a series, but there is a great movie called, I think it's called My Best Friend Dahmer or something like that, or My Friend Dahmer. I've seen that. Yeah, that's really cool as well. That I recommend and that would have been set in the 70s because it was his teenage years. It focuses on his teenage years before he became the Dahmer that we know of.
Okay.
Which did start in his teenage years, but these are his early teenage years. And they do also show that in the series. They show, like, I have a quick anecdote. So there's a scene in Dahmer where he's in biology lab and they're about to dissect a frog, and he's teamed up with this girl in class, and she's like, ew, I don't want to do this. And he cannot wait to do it. He is beyond excited to dissect the frog, right?
Right.
My child loves frogs so much, like obsessed, loves, and is watching the series with us. Last night we go to the school for a meeting they have to decide their subjects for next year, because grade 10, and the life science teacher is talking about what they're going to be doing, and she's like, yes, and there will be lab work and we will be dissecting a frog in grade 11. And of course my kid is now very upset about this, very upset. And I'm like, but come on, we just saw it recently in a movie. What was that? And this is in front of the teacher, by the way. And my kid just looks at me and goes, Dahmer.
So
I was like,
we may have to bring a pig in here. We feel that you may be too advanced.
No, literally, you know what the teacher said? The teacher said, well, by then we might be doing a rat. Don't worry, it might not be a frog.
See, I'm telling you, Dahmer gives you a good introduction into dissection and other things. But I'm not going to watch it. I'm probably not going to watch it.
You're missing out, but it's fine. You don't have to watch it.
No,
you're missing out on lots of 80s-ness. There's good 80s-ness. There's
I know.
The clothes, the hair, the thing, all of it, the things.
I know. That's kind of what keeps drawing me back in. That's the mystique of Dahmer. You go, how did this guy? How did people fall for it? But he caught you with 80s. So believe it or not, we haven't even started with our movie rewatch recommendations.
But I'm going to be very quick. I'm going to be very quick. Okay. I'm phoning it in this week. Because next week I'm going to have a thing of beauty for you. But this week I have to talk about it because we already spoke so much about it, but I have to report back. I've watched the first episode of Quantum Leap 2022.
Oh, right. Okay.
And that is what I'm going to talk about because and it's brilliant and terrible at the same time.
Really?
I am so torn about this show. Part of me wants to not watch another episode. Part of me wants to watch all of them. I'm so torn because
you know they're finding Sam Beckett. They're finding him.
They've already hinted at it. They've already hinted.
Right.
In the first episode, they already hinted that that's what they're doing. Okay. And I cried a little.
Oh.
Anyway, it's so bad. And there are parts of it that are so badly done for no reason. And then it has the most epic soundtrack. Like they have spent all the money on the soundtrack. Can I just read you some of the songs from episode 1?
Go for it.
Let me list some of the songs from episode 1 for you. Let's Dance by David Bowie. Rebel Rebel by David Bowie. Dancehall Days by Wang Chung. Are you ready for this one, Paulo? Take On Me by a-ha. Take On Me by a-ha.
How soon in the show do they play it? Where in the show do they play it?
No, not at the beginning. It's not the first song. It's not the first song in the show.
Okay, good. Right? Okay, good.
And then this was the kicker. And even because my kid was watching the show with me, and when this came on, they were like, oh, yeah, because this is like the one song that they also love from the 80s. Blue Monday by New Order. Blue Monday by New Order. Like, just, what? That's episode 1.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
Right? So I'm excited about the soundtrack element of this show. I'm excited about because I love the concept and I love time travel and all that is cool. It's so badly done. And the acting is so bad. And Elle, which is, it was Elle in the 80s, the new hologram is literally not a hologram. Yeah. She is a person who you can see, whereas at least Elle, they had an effect on him, so you could see he wasn't a real person. He was made of blue light kind of thing. And this, she just appears as normal. She looks like all the other people in the scene, except only he can see her. The others can't see her. And it's so dumb. It's so stupid and so annoying.
Wait, explain that again?
Okay.
You can't, so nobody can see her, only him.
Except for Ben, who is the main character, the main guy, the guy who's leading.
So what?
He can see her. But she's standing right next to him and talking to him like a normal person. She's not a hologram. She is a hologram, but she doesn't look like a hologram.
Yeah.
You don't even see her.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember with Sam, he would appear. He would, I don't know, appear and he would be punching on his little computer thing and he would be like a weird blue light. She just walks into the scene like a normal character. I'm like, that's so stupid. Guys, you've put so much money into this show. Just put an effect on her.
Because, what I imagine, right, is that while he's in time, she's back in their present day. And now she's obviously in her lab, transmitting herself into that. So do you ever see her in her present day talking to him?
No.
Is she in his brain?
There's one scene
implanted in his brain.
I don't know. It's so bad. There is one scene where their connection they lose connection and you see them standing and they're in this alleyway and everything. And then the whole backdrop disappears around them and all of a sudden she is standing in a black room. So that is the only scene that gives away what is actually happening. But
that makes sense. I need to understand the science. I need to, even if it's bullshit science, I need to understand it. I need you to care about the science.
It is such bullshit science.
But I need you to care about it.
And the other cool thing about episode 1 is that he did jump into 1984. There were some cool references. There were posters for Live Aid on the walls, and
nice.
They didn't do a lot of 80s though. The people didn't have 80s hair. There wasn't a lot of 80s-ness to it. So I was a bit disappointed by that. I'm so torn. I think I'm maybe going to give it one more episode and decide.
I have a sense that this show was rushed because, you and I are normally pretty good. We normally have quite a good eye on 80s stuff being rebooted. We kind of always know. But Quantum Leap, not only just it was on TV already. It's not we found out a week before it was already shown and then we found out about it. My sense is that they rushed the hell out of this thing.
Why?
Exactly why. It's what do you have to? It's a weird time of year in the US, or maybe it's not. It's fall is quite big. I don't know. It just seems that it came out of nowhere. It seems rushed. Tax write-off. If I don't see Sam Beckett, if I do see Sam Beckett, then I know it's a tax write-off.
It's a front for a big drug deal. I don't know.
Huge. Go look in it. Is it shot? And listen, let's not cast dispersions at Canada, but they do shoot a lot of stuff there for tax write-offs. So just go see if it's shot in Canada.
It could very well be shot in Canada. I'll tell you, the entire cast, apart from, the guy who plays Ben, who I know from that other series, but he's still not a well-known actor, is literally, apart from, we did mention, what is his name? The guy from Ghostbusters. Apart from him, complete no-name cast, literally. Just no-name cast. What is his name now? Bernie Hudson. Apart from Bernie Hudson. And he's got a tiny role in it. He's hardly in it.
Oh, you see,
he's the big boss.
They catfished me. Damn them, Quantum Leap, and they're catfishing Dory with Sam Beckett.
I'm quickly going to filming locations, and we are going to solve this mystery today.
The end title card will go, and Dory never saw Sam Beckett get home again.
I will keep an eye on reviews, and if that happens, I will watch that episode. I don't know. I might.
No, I think that's what you do.
I'd rather be watching Dahmer.
But that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying don't keep watching it. Just wait until he does appear, and then watch the arc, because they're not going to keep him in. It's just going to be fan service. So they'll do it to kind of get the zeitgeist, and then they'll go, okay, we've done it. Fans, get off Reddit. We've done it for you. It's kind of like Boba Fett, right, on Disney Plus. Right. No interest, could not care about it. No interest in Boba Fett. He was a cool character in Star Wars, but I don't really worry about what more you did. I think the whole world felt that way, and then they kind of had so I'm going to tell everyone who comes in, Mandalorian and Baby Yoda, right? If you're watching Boba Fett, you go, this sucks, I'm going to stop watching. They know it sucks, and they put Mandalorian and Boba Fett and Baby Yoda, and then you watch that, and then you're happy. So then Quantum Leap is going to do that as well. Where they're going to know
they've already referenced. Yeah, they've already referenced in the first episode, and this is the one thing that keeps me wanting to watch more, is that they reference the old L from the original show, and it was actually kind of sweet, because in the story they reference him and they say, but he died last year. His daughter has taken over doing what he was doing, and literally at the end credits, it was dedicated to Dean Stockwell, who was the actor, and he literally did die last year. So that's when I cried a little bit, because it was I didn't even know that he had died, first of all, and that's kind of sweet, and I like that. Okay, two things. It is filmed in Vancouver, Canada.
Told you.
And the first user review that comes up on IMDb is so spot on. Listen to this. Not horrible, but a hard sell. Loved Sam and Elle. The original is always hard to beat. Not sure the new guy can pull it off. I like the nostalgic feel, but it's going to be a rocky road. I think a lot of people are going to be critical, and rightfully so. I'll give it a few more episodes to make a full judgment.
Yeah.
That is spot on.
So, shows like this prompt Screen Rant to write articles that go, have we reached peak 80s nostalgia?
Which is exactly why I said, stop the reboots. Because that's what's causing this problem.
So what do you want to see? Do you want to see more Stranger Things type things? So original stories happening in the 80s?
Yes. Why not?
Yes. Why not? Let's do that. Okay.
Unless you're going to make a reboot that kicks the original's ass.
Oh,
this is not doing that so far. It's not happening.
How are you going to do that? Yeah. No, that's not going to happen. So we're going to give Quantum
Paulo, didn't you watch the reboot of Magnum? Didn't you?
I did. Oh, God. That was tough.
Hey?
Oh, my God. Don't remind me of that.
Yeah.
Don't remind me of that. That was tough.
Are they rebooting the A-Team? Have they rebooted the A-Team? It's going to be terrible.
Or MacGyver, or Airwolf, or
all of them. All of them.
So there's certain things.
Wait till Knight Rider.
Oh, they did. Well, they tried to reboot. They did Knight Rider 2000.
Yes,
and that was phenomenal.
Exactly.
That was phenomenal. That was more a movie of. No, it was a follow-up.
Yeah.
But you see that. So there are certain franchises. How dare they touch? Don't touch my A-Team. Don't touch my MacGyver, and don't touch my Airwolf. And in
retrospect, don't touch my Quantum Leap. Just say.
Okay. So no for Quantum Leap. Boo. We'll wait till the Sam Beckett episode. Thank you for that, Dory. Always on the cutting edge of the most 80s stuff, bringing the most 80s news back to you. I've got a movie for you, Dory, that I went back to watch for a different reason than I come out of. So I went in with a nefarious reason.
Okay.
But I come out with actually a movie that impacted me more than I actually realized it did.
Okay.
What are we going to talk about? So, nice cast in my movie. Lovely cast. Sam Elliott. He who never ages.
Yes.
He who is less man and more mustache. Right? And listen, Sam Elliott has always been Silver Fox, but in this movie, peak 80s, he is uber sexy Silver Fox. And I'll tell you his character. I mean, Sam Elliott is pretty sexy cowboy, right? We've seen him as a cowboy, pretty sexy. We've seen him as a military man, pretty sexy. I'm going to tell you his character in this. Beats them all. Got Eric Stoltz. You like him as well, don't you?
Oh, love Eric Stoltz.
Okay, that little grunt.
I think I know which movie you're talking about because I made a point of watching all the Eric Stoltz movies. I can't think right now what it is, but it's starting to form something in my brain.
You'll get it by my last person, right? So Eric Stoltz, listen, I can't tell you what Eric Stoltz has been in, but I know him, and then I know he wasn't in Back to the Future. He started filming Back to the Future, he got canned. He wasn't in Back to the Future.
He was not.
Also stars a very young Laura Dern. Youngish?
Okay.
She was a teenager, late teens, right?
Okay.
And this one's going to give it away, sure.
Oh, it's Mask. Okay.
Oh, well done, Dory.
I love Mask.
1985 movie.
Have I not done Mask as a movie before?
You have not done Mask. I cannot.
And now you've beaten me to it.
We have never done this movie. Now, it's not The Mask with Jim Carrey.
No.
It's Mask. Okay.
This is a true story. It's very sad.
100% true story. It's actually not sad, right? So it tells a story.
It's sad in theory.
Yes, sad in story. Tells the story, true story of a kid called Rocky Dennis. And he is born with a very rare condition. It's kind of like 1 in 400 million case where, and I'm going to oversimplify it, the bones in his face never stopped growing, right?
Yeah.
So he had this deformed face, like a really big face, his nose spread out, his eyes kind of went to the side of his head. And it's a true story. And in this, we kind of pick up the story where Rocky is he's about 15 or 16, right? We kind of drop into where his life is. I saw one review that Cher plays his mother, where they refer to his mother as complicated, which I quite liked. It's a very subtle way of saying he says in the movie, all she cares about is getting laid and blazed. So that's what they say that in the movie, not my words. That's what they say in the movie, right?
But from what I remember, so that is her character, but she loves him and protects him and will do anything for him.
100%.
She's not a bad mother. She's not a bad mother.
No, she doesn't fit society's norm at the time of a mother.
Yes.
But she is not a bad mother. She doesn't abandon him. Everything's about him. And her mother is Estelle Getty, Sophia from Golden Girls.
Yes.
It's so weird seeing her in this movie because it's the same time as Golden Girls, but she's younger. Right? Because in Golden Girls, I think she was actually younger than Betty White in Golden Girls.
I think she was the youngest of all of them, and they made her the oldest of all of them. Yes.
Question: Do you think she'd get cancelled now for appropriating old age culture?
I thought you were about to say for appropriating being Italian. Is she Italian?
Well, what have we just opened up? Yeah. Woke wars. What have we stumbled upon? Golden Girls. Did Golden Girls corrupt us against old people and Italians? My God, what? I come in here to review a movie and now I've got a fucking crisis of confidence in my brain. so Estelle Getty kind of playing her age, which was like late 50s, early 60s, which she was, right? She's Cher's mom. And Sam Elliott shows up as a biker. Because Cher is
isn't he always a biker? Gang. But I mean, he's always a biker. But even if he's not on a bike, he's always a biker. But
he's always a biker.
So I remember him so well from this movie, though.
Right. And Cher's mom, Cher's character, Rocky's mom, hangs out in this biker gang. But the thing about biker gangs, and these are the little lessons that I start going, wow, this movie had a profound effect on me. Because in the 80s, bikers, and we're not just talking biker gangs, we're talking anyone on a motorbike in the 80s were petrified of them. If someone on a motorbike pulled up next to you at the traffic lights, your mom was like, just say the prayers, don't just look forward. It's like, as soon as this robot changes up going, they're evil, they're all Satanists, they're going to get up, they're just going to take us away, what are they going to do? And like, no, they're not bad guys. They're just like they wear those clothes for protection mostly.
Yes.
And they're not that bad. Sure, there must be bad bikers, like there must be bad 80 show podcasters, but that doesn't mean all of us are bad, right? So
it's exactly like I had an image in my mind of what the Hells Angels were, right? And then when I actually met real Hells Angels, which was at the very first Oppie Koppie music festival, by the way, in Pretoria, and they were the security for the festival, and they were a bunch of teddy bears. They were amazing.
Always. And like they used to run security, and yes, again, some must have got involved in other stuff, but by and large, because people were so scared of them and they were so intimidated, they actually just had to be there. People go, fuck, I don't want to get beaten. These guys will fuck me up. They're Hells Angels, but they're like awesome guys. But anyway, so that's one of the first things. And the thing about this biker community and this biker gang is how they just love Rocky. They totally embrace him. Like he's one of them. Nobody
Wasn't it like in a trailer park or something?
Yeah.
They lived in a trailer park.
Very like working class America setting, right?
Right.
But the way this biker community embraces him, and this is kind of like against the thing of like, sure, because she hangs with the biker gang. Look, she does like sleep around, and she does have like the drugs, and she does get a hooker for her son because she figures no girl's ever going to sleep with him, so she hires a hooker for him. But for Rocky himself, this gives him this great confidence because despite his appearance, he's a super bright kid and he's super confident. The mom sure fights for him to be in the normal school because they say no, he's definitely not going to be. He's going to be mentally incapacitated, and he's actually not. And in real life as well, went to normal school, graduated top of his class, was popular, very funny. Kids liked him because he was self-deprecating. And this is kind of one of the first lessons I learned in this movie. In that, as I say, I didn't realize how this movie impacted on me. Of going, you know what? So firstly, with the biker gang, right, is that you can be one way in school, but outside of school, you're a completely different person who runs around in completely different circles, and who you are in school doesn't define who you are in general, right? Because he like gets brought to school by the biker gangs. So kids are already like, what the hell? You're not supposed to be with bikers, right? So for me, it was like going, just because I'm here for 6 hours, that's not who I am. I am who I'm out of here. So that's like one of the lessons I learned. And the other lesson I learned is like Rocky does in this movie is he diffuses everything with humor. So people make fun of him and he plays with it, right? He just completely, he just diffuses it, takes it, makes a joke of himself before anyone else can. And it goes, humor can be a weapon. It can just diffuse things. And I can't say I was like greatly bullied or bullied to any extent at school, but kind of like anytime somebody would try start, I used humor. Because what I realized, people are afraid of someone with a quick mouth. Like bullies are. They don't want to deal with somebody who's quick. And so they leave you. So it's like, I didn't realize that I took that from this movie, right? And I did. So that's the second thing. So there's a whole lot of like little sub stories. There's this kind of Sam, Elliot, and Cher's relationship. Everybody is super fatherly towards Rocky. He at one point goes away to a summer camp, this is kind of where like, weird storytelling comes in. It's a blind summer camp for blind kids, and he falls in love. A girl falls in love with him because now she can't see him. And at some point, they're contemplating calling this girl. Her name was Diana, Laura Dern's character. I think they must have contemplated calling her Love, so they could literally say Love is blind, because now she. I'm telling you, it's at that point of storytelling. She loves him, or she falls in love with him, and because he teaches her through feeling color. And
I remember very clearly, as if I'd watched this movie yesterday, and it is a very long time since I've watched this movie.
It is one of those. It is one of those.
Yeah, there's a scene where I think he took stones and he put one in the freezer and he heated one up and he was like, "This is red and this is blue."
Yeah, that's it.
I think something like that. Hey, I remember that scene so well.
That's exactly it.
I saw this movie, Paulo. I saw this movie on the big screen when it came out. What year did it come out?
Amazing, 1985.
Yeah, I saw it on the big screen. In fact, it was for a friend's birthday party. Remember when we were kids, the birthday parties, you'd take a bunch of your friends to the movies and then you'd go for lunch afterwards. This was my one of my best friends in primary school's birthday, and that's what we went to go see. And I loved it so much. And then I watched it again a few years later. Well, probably about 10 years later, I watched it again. I've definitely seen it at least twice. Great film.
And it's a film that when you watch it, you go, wow. Because I probably also watched this around about 10 years old or so. And I was like, wow, I remember so much of this film. It's really good. Like, I mean, that cast is top class actors, right?
Yeah.
It's not cinematically great. It's like, that's why I'm surprised when you say you watch it on a big screen. I wouldn't have. I would have watched it on TV. Feels very made for TV. Shots are very basic. Like, there's nothing complicated about the way they shoot it, but all the actors are phenomenal. The story is so inspiring. And if you do back it up and read into the real story about him, just as inspiring. What a great guy. Sad ending. Does have a sad ending. He does pass away in the end. In real life, obviously, he did. He passed away at 16 years old. And his body was donated to science to help people that they don't show that in the movie, but to kind of better understand this condition. The movie is on YouTube, the full movie. But what you're going to find on YouTube is the theatrical release, because there's a director's cut, right?
Oh.
And yes, different scenes, but the biggest difference is the theatrical release in the soundtrack compared to director's cut. Director's cut has Bruce Springsteen songs in the soundtrack. So just to give it that like more authentic working class Americana, that must be cool, because that's kind of where it is.
So which one do you recommend I watch and show my child?
The YouTube one's going to be easy to find. That's already there. If you can find the director's cut somewhere, go for that. But like the only real change, a couple of extra scenes and the soundtrack. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same. But it is, what a nice movie, right? What a fantastic.
And I'd forgotten about it. I think it's great to watch with my kid as well. I think that's a good one. Cool.
Really, really good. But I'm going to fuck it up.
Oh, no.
Right. Because remember I said to you, I went into this movie with a different intention to what I came out of it with.
Oh, now you're going to tell us what that intention was?
So prosthetics in the 1980s weren't great, right? They were what they were. So Eric Stoltz, obviously the whole movie, he's got a prosthetic mask on, okay?
Right.
And this is what prompted me to see what the real Rocky Dennis looked like. And he didn't look like Eric Stoltz did. I understand there must have been reasons for why he didn't look that way. And it wasn't like for visually, because I think the original Rocky actually looked better than Eric Stoltz's character.
I remember also looking this up and being surprised by this. I remember this, yeah.
Yeah. It's surprising. Like, I mean, shame. You do see the deformity, but it's not like the movie, right? And prosthetics were what they were. I can't imagine there were too many shops doing prosthetics and the sort of stuff in the 80s. As much as I do remember this movie very vividly from the 80s. There was a part of me that was reminded, I did go into this movie thinking somewhere along the line that it was a sequel to Garbage Pail Kids and one of the kids got left on Earth. And this is his story growing up.
Wow.
Don't blame me now. Blame me in the 80s. It's not it's the prosthetics. This is not a thing. It's like if you look at what the Garbage Pail Kids look like and then what his mask looks like, they're not dissimilar. So I must have gone in because there's no other way I would have watched this movie as a kid.
That's what I was thinking. This is so unlike you. This is a movie I would review.
I'm going to hell. I'm sorry.
Terrible.
That's not good. So sorry about that. I did try to go to a good place, but it just kind of didn't end up there. So, but watch Mask and don't be a dick. I was 10. I mean, what do you expect from a 10-year-old boy? Like, imagine Bart Simpson. That's what I was like, right?
Mm-hmm. I can imagine that.
That's what I was like. But besides that, it is, and besides that, it actually won an Academy Award for Best Makeup. So what do I know? What do I know about anything? I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of idiots, actually, Amanda Palmer has been confusing our brains. I just finished off with her last week. We spoke up. We still don't understand. Spoke about her saying that "Wake me up before you go" is a pun, right?
Right.
And we can't figure it out. Like, we've put it on our Facebook page. People have commented. Facebook page, That 80s Show Essay. Nobody can understand what this means, what it's all about. And she didn't stop there because you showed me further conversations about not just her conversations, but misheard lyrics in Wham songs from Amanda Palmer.
Well, so these were comments on the post on her page. Was like people kind of took it from there and went, oh, well, guess what? This is what I used to think, and turned it into a whole misheard lyrics thing.
So give me some of those.
Okay, so the one we actually started the show with, which was the misheard lyric of You Give Love a Band-Aid by Bon Jovi.
Yep.
The other one, this is my favorite. This is the favorite one that I found. I was exactly 2 years old when I realized, despite being a language teacher and writer and having sent away Rice Krispies coupons for Wham's Club Tropicana on vinyl at age 6, that strangers welcome you to the wonderland from beneath their Panamas, not, as I've been singing for 40 years, from beneath the planet Mars.
You see, again,
so that's another great misheard lyric.
Maybe, but was she a child? Because you obviously don't. Maybe like, because sometimes maybe where they were, you could see the planet Mars. Maybe they thought, the
poster, who's a man. It's a man. Yes. He said he's been singing it for the past 40 years. He only found out that day that he was wrong.
But maybe he thought, like, that's how I can find Club Tropicana. It's a clue because when I can see the planet Mars, can you see the planet Mars? Sometimes you can do that, can't you?
I don't know.
I don't know. So maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to explain a moron. How do you explain? Again, Amanda Palmer is not helping our lives. In fact, making things a whole lot worse. At what point do we give up on her?
I'm going to go back and check the post. Maybe she has responded. But I think that she has not responded on purpose.
Okay.
I think she is waiting to see where this goes. No, because people are coming up with more and more weird theories.
It's performance art, I'm telling you. So you'll keep us updated on Amanda Palmer.
I will.
We got sidetracked on the show trying to figure out what Bon Jovi acted in. He didn't actually act in Young Guns. He just did the soundtrack for it. I thought, I'm sure I would have remembered him in that. I know he did the song.
Okay, my bad.
No, Dory,
he wasn't in that or Cobra Kai.
It's fine, Dory. It's fine. We learned so much. We learned so much today. But of all the things we learned, I mean, like, I think there's something in Estelle Getty. I mean, is she actually the most hateful person of the 80s against Italians and the elderly? Like, I don't know what to say. Is she Italian? Is she excused? Does it make it okay? She wasn't elderly. So, that's what I kind of took out of today. But what did you learn that you'll take away from today's show, Dory?
I learned that you can be deep, but only for about 5 minutes.
Everything you heard on today's show can be found at 80 Show SA on Facebook. Go back, listen to other episodes. You can also find links to the podcast. Be a friend, tell a friend. Thank you for joining me, Dori. Goodbye.
Bye.